Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Here is today's race at the fantastic Daytona Speedway, where once again we are competing in the GTEs, and once more we are in the Porsche RSR. Now I had tried the BMW again for this week, but I had struggled, so decided to stay with the Porsche, which is definitely the strongest car around here, as we're going to see. So as we get underway,
green.
the important thing once again here is just to survive turn 1, lap 1. Now thankfully everyone is playing safe and mature, especially on these cold tyres, giving plenty of space. Though we are still a bit jumbled up here, and we can see just ahead our poor Corvette off to the left. It's like there's been some form of contact, but we are through safely. And now we just have to see how people start filtering and coming back together. So we're going to slot in here behind car 14 in another Porsche. Now the Porsche wasn't the only dominant car here. As you can see behind, there were quite a few of the fast Ferraris. And Tom there was definitely one of the quicker drivers. Now we're going to see plenty of him through this race. But we are through the inner field for the first time. As we come back onto the oval, we are now up to P10 with that one freebie. However, let's have a look at exactly what happened there, because there's a danger here at Daytona. So, watching those curves, those are 3D curves, and we're going to see this Corvette here as he comes across the left one, gets a horrible bounce, and though he's helped on the way, it was the curbing itself that put him there. We're going to rejoin onto lap 2 now, and we have the first of the slowdowns. Car 14 ahead, peeling off to the right to try and start bleeding off that 1.2 seconds you get by going wide out of the chicane. It's going to lose a few positions there. Unfortunately for him, and we now Tom starting to close up to us using the speed of that Ferrari.
13, P9.
And now suddenly I'm under attack as he's coming down my inside. I'm forced wide, and I tried to get back on the power, but the traction control is telling me I'm being too aggressive, so I'm not quite there. Try and hold him to the inside, but I just have no overlap. I've got to slot right back in behind him. That's a fantastic move from Tom. So let's have a look at how far back he came from. So you can see there's at least 2 cars lengths there, and I'm holding over to the right, trying to open up the corner, and he's right beside me. Doing really well, especially to get the car stopped and then be on the power before I can be. And though I try and hold him to the right here, I have no overlap, and it is nearly impossible to try and make a move around the outside stick out of there, even with the good exit I get out of that corner. So now I'm back underneath the wing of Tom, and I'm just going to try and use this time to compare just how the Ferrari is to the Porsche. So I know from past experience those Ferraris are ferocious in a straight line, whereas the Porsche is fast and nimble through the curves. So it's the old David and Goliath here between us.
Car number 15.
And though I'm a little put off by sharing the same name with him, we are not related, just to put it out there. Now, we managed to both get a fairly good exit coming onto the oval. So he's making the mistake there, he's not really hugging that yellow curb, which can cost you at least a 10th. But we're not really making any time up to him here, so I'm going to try and save a little bit of fuel, because that's going to help me later on in the race. And focus on being on the power after that second curb to give you a good exit, and you can see that's worked nicely as we're still right behind Tom. Though we are under pressure from behind by Ricardo's, another of the fast Porsche drivers. So I need to not repeat the same mistake as I did on the last lap. We're closing up to Tom here, but I'm not going to have any sort of overlap coming into it, so I'm going to move to the right just to set up my own corner.
P10.
Starting to move across, we can see Ricardo now trying to repeat as Tom did. But I'm able to carry better speed and be on the power this time, which keeps us ahead of him. And we're side by side, I am ahead coming into the braking zone, so as long as I get a good exit here, I will be ahead coming out of the corner. That was another close one, nearly losing 2 positions in 2 laps to the same manoeuvre. So you see Ricardo does exceptional here, just like Tom did, getting that car stopped and then alongside me. He holds his line, but there is good space between us. But at least by staying ahead into the braking zone, that's what allows me to defend from Ricciardo. You can see though he's getting closer to the cars behind him with that Corvette having to avoid him. So now I've got to try and catch back up to Tom. I'm going to need his slipstream in order to stay ahead of Ricciardo if he tries to make a move like that again. I'm also going to have to adjust how I'm going into turn 1 because it seems that a lot of people are favouring that inside line to really launch themselves on anyone like me who tries to open up the corner. But we're going to push ahead here to lap 5 because we were all just sort of working together, working to that longer race here because it is 45 minutes and we do have a pit stop to make here at Daytona as well, so any fuel saving is key. However, if you look ahead, there's cars spinning right across the track. There's been some form of major incident, but they're both off onto the grass, so we're able to get through without really having to lift.
Sectors 2 and 3 are 0.32.
And now I get a little bit of an opportunity here as Tom goes deep out of the corner.
Right side's clear.
Just playing it safe here. I decide not to make it too wide there, especially knowing that as long as Tom stays to the right, I'm not going to get an opportunity out of the corner. So let's have a look at exactly what happened, and unfortunately there is some foul play here. See, the Porsche gets turned by the car behind, and then at that point he's a passenger and a Beyblade, with the poor Ferrari getting caught as collateral. Very unfortunate driving, but we carry on and to lap 7. Still playing the long game here, still just working together. Now really between me, Tom and Ricciardo. But we do have the cars not that far behind us. I'm at least hoping that between me and Tom we can work together. And now I've got a good run out of the chicane, so I'm going to see here if Tom wants to trade places and let me take the lead through the infield. You see he's let off there, he's let me get past nice and early to set up for turn 1. So now it's up to me to not make a mistake. And here I go making that mistake as I go deep like Tom did a couple of laps earlier. Try and stay a bit to the right in case Tom's going to have a look to try and take the position back. But we're still ahead even if I go a little bit deep again. And that's 2 mistakes I've made, which has cost me and Tom. And poor Tom's had to defend from Ricciardo behind. It's not good luck for me, so now I've got to show Tom that we can work together and that I can get a good time through this infield here to make up for that mistake. And do the same again over the next few laps as we end up probably changing positions again.
Hold your nerve, make them do the work.
But for now we are ahead and out of the infield, so now we're onto the part of the track where Tom should be quicker than us and he's only 3 tenths behind. So I'm now going to see if he wants to get ahead before or after the bus stop, or if he's going to try and play a longer game and fuel save like I'd been doing behind him. Again, coasting in on the power through the second part, and we get a good exit. But we're only 4 tenths ahead of Tom here. I know he's fast in a straight line, so we're going to see just how quick he closes up to us. But we have also pulled a little bit of a gap to Ricciardo, who is also under attack by the car behind, so that's going to slow them up. Tom opts not to take our slipstream here. He's definitely wanting to try and keep me ahead. So it's going to be up to me now to show that I can make it right. And we have a car going very deep. Don't know what exactly happened there as we watch the rearview mirror. And there's another incident as 2 of the cars come together through the S's. That's a lot of action over that last corner, so let's have a look exactly what led up into that. So this was the Porsche that was behind Ricciardo, and he's going to get a very good run here coming off the banking, and he's going to draw alongside, but you can see he's under pressure as well from the car behind. He's going to try and go all the way around the outside, braking very late, but he's carrying too much speed. He's just about able to get the car back under control as he slides, but it costs him a number of positions. And then look ahead as the 2 Porsches come together there. The car on the outside really not leading the gap, so we'll have a look in detail. This was one on the inside, and you can see Ricciardo just does not really leave the space for him as he turns in. So we'll rejoin the race up to lap 13 now, and there's been a bit of a development behind us with Philip, car number 6, catching up to me and Tom. And now Tom has given up the position there, saying he wanted to just fall in behind and see how this will develop between the two of us. Now, you see there in the top left, Philip is on a charge. He's been putting in some excellent lap times, and he's already up 7 positions. So I've got a lot to defend from here if I'm going to be able to. I'm just going to judge and watch for now to see how Philip does in comparison to us. Unfortunately, we're not really going to catch up to the cars ahead of us, so this is purely between the 3 of us now. And we're also coming up to the pit stop phase, so I've got to start thinking here of not how I'm going to work and save fuel, but how I'm going to try and get ahead and break the toe to the 2 of them in order to stand the best chance coming out of the pits. Now, we've already done well there on the infield. We've got a good gap to begin with on Philip. But between 2 Porsches, the slipstream is a lot stronger here, so it's going to be very difficult to try and defend. I've got to make sure I get a good run here through the chicane, and especially get a good exit coming out of it, but I'm a bit jittery on the braking there. And I don't quite get on the power as much as I should be doing, which costs me time. And there's Philip now in the background. He's firmly in the slipstream. I'm going to have to be ready to defend here. I don't want to go into the pits yet just because the window's open. I want to try and get another lap in just so I can make sure I'm going to get the right amount of fuel that I need to finish the race.
Hold your line.
And now I can defend on the inside here.
Hold your line.
I'm just going to make sure I don't outbrake myself. Philip is around our outside as expected.
Clear right.
We're able to get on the power nice and early, which puts us ahead there. And unless I make a mistake, it's going to be very difficult for him to come back at us through the infield now, so I've just got to keep it neat and tidy. It really is all about apexes and exits, especially in the Porsche, using that nimbleness. And the next key point will be coming up here as we're starting to come back towards the oval. The infield really doesn't last that long here. It is still a key part, but these ovals are where a lot of the overtaking will take place. I need to try and be far enough ahead as I get a good exit here and start pulling away from Philip behind, just to make sure that he's not going to be able to try and challenge us into the bus stop.
20 minutes remaining, you've got 20 minutes left. Use all the track, force them to find the gap.
Because now I would love to go the extra lap. You can see we're only down to about 4.5 litres here, so if we can get to the line ahead of him, we'll be able to go another lap. But again, I'm just not quite there. I'm getting on the power and getting the rotation, so Philip is now right behind us. I could try to defend like I did the lap before, but he's a lot closer this time. He's already to our outside before even off the banking here, so I'm now going to decide at last minute. I'm going to brake and turn into the left, get into the pits and get stopped. Now my out lap later, and we find ourselves now coming out right behind Philip, with Tom just over a second behind us.
Philip up, car number 6.
So we've not done too badly here, but as expected, Philip has come out ahead of us because he's probably had a good monster run in that clear air. It's not over yet though. As long as I can stay with him here, I might just get an opportunity towards the end of the race. It's just going to be important to stay with him through this section. Done okay now. We've dropped Tom a little bit behind us as we're onto the banking, and we're firmly in the slipstream of Philip. And as I said, between 2 Porsches of the same make, the slipstream is a lot stronger. So as long as I can stay with him now coming out of the bus stop by getting a good exit. Actually, there we are. On the power there, I have a little bit of confidence lift because I don't quite slow up, and I have a real clench there.
Keep it between the lines.
really on the edge of getting that slowdown, and even with Tom 2 seconds behind us, I would have lost the position to him. But we've held it, and we're still here with Philip, though we're not really catching for now, so we'll go ahead a few laps. On to lap 20 now, and we are right up beside him into turn 1, but we're going to have a big slide moment. Just getting very lucky there that neither of us takes any damage or gets sent off into the nether realm, so we'll see exactly what happened. Managed to finally get a good run, and whilst it's dangerous going around the outside, I was confident at that point, though I asked too much of the rear tyres. That's what initiated that slide and nearly ended both of our races. Then took a few more laps after that for me to get back up to Philip, but he'd been very slow the past few laps. And again, he's very slow here through turn 1. As I'm really checking up here. So I'm going to try and swap sides. He's going to the left as I dive down that inside, making sure I get stopped and hug that inside corner and get on the power. And though it was a bit aggressive considering what had happened a few laps earlier, I felt I had to make the move given the opportunity and just how slow Philip had been the past few laps. I was worried that if he was able to slow me up, he would save the fuel he might be missing in order to then finish the race at full power. However, unfortunately for Philip, he had just underfueled so much as we started talking after the race, and I found out that he drastically had underfueled the car in order to try and make sure he got that undercut on me, but miscalculated and just found himself lifting and coasting over the last few laps. So as we come up to the finish here, we had gained a 3-second gap, giving us a comfortable win, and we're going to bring it home in P7. A fantastic finish to that race. I did apologise profusely to Philip after the race because of that little incident, but it was all fair between us. And still, it was great racing with Philip, Ricardo and Tom throughout that one. And I hope you have enjoyed this one just as much as I have. So please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you next time for the Nordschleife.